The Secret of Centenarians. How to keep strong legs until 100. Picture this. A man, 102 years old, rising with the sun. He steps into his garden barefoot, the cool soil pressing under his feet, the scent of wet earth mixing with the sweetness of tomatoes on the vine. He bends carefully, his knees strong, his back steady, and plucks a tomato with the practiced hands of someone who has done this 1,000 times. Slowly, he rises. No cane, no hand reaching to steady him, just his legs, his quiet pillars of independence. What kept him so resilient when so many others his age have become frail or immobile? It wasn't expensive supplements. It wasn't hours at the gym. The secret was humbler, hidden in plain sight, what he put on his plate every day for decades. Modern science has begun to uncover what traditional cultures have long known. The strength in our legs is a mirror of how we age. Research from the National Institute on Aging, led by Dr. Luigi Ferrucci, shows that leg strength is one of the most powerful predictors of longevity. But here's the part most people miss. Without the right nutrition, even the best exercise plan will fall short. Weakness begins invisibly, long before it shows up as a stumble on the stairs. Comment: strong legs. If you believe that food holds the power to shape how we age, and if this message resonates with you, subscribe and join us on this journey toward vitality and independence. The signs of decline are rarely loud at first. You might notice it takes a little longer to stand up from your favorite chair, or you lean on the rail as you climb the stairs, just in case. Maybe you shorten your walks, telling yourself it's because you're busy, but deep down, you sense something changing. This slow erosion is called sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass after age 60. According to the Mayo Clinic, adults can lose up to 3% of muscle every year past midlife. And where do we notice it first? In the legs. The muscles that carried us through our careers, our parenting years, our travels, they are the first to weaken. But here's the hopeful news. With the right choices, that decline is not inevitable. So, why do the legs lose strength so quickly? It's not just lack of movement, it's lack of raw materials. Muscles are like a garden. Without water, sun, and minerals, the soil hardens, the roots weaken, and life fades. In the human body, the soil is built from protein, calcium, magnesium, and essential fats. When these go missing from our diets, the body quietly begins to ration its resources, and the legs pay the price. Many older adults, without meaning to, change how they eat. Eggs, beans, yogurt, once staples, are replaced with toast, coffee, or quick snacks. Fresh fish and vegetables give way to packaged foods, frozen meals, or whatever's easiest. Gradually, the body no longer receives what it needs to repair itself. In Okinawa, Japan, one of the world's famed blue zones, elders have taught us something remarkable. I remember reading about a man in his late 90s who said, "I never stopped eating my little fish, my tofu, my vegetables." His meals weren't luxurious, but they were intentional. He didn't eat to fill up, he ate to nourish. Across the blue zones, Sardinia in Italy, Icaria in Greece, Nicoya in Costa Rica, we see the same quiet wisdom. Sardinians gather around simple dishes of chickpeas, fava beans, vegetables, and a little cheese. In Nicoya, it's corn tortillas, black beans, and squash. In Okinawa, purple sweet potatoes, tofu, bitter melon, and fresh fish. These meals aren't flashy. They're consistent, humble, deeply nourishing. And here's what's equally important. It's not just what they eat, but how. Meals are slow. Plates are not piled high. Food is shared with family, with friends. Elders eat surrounded by people who love them, with purpose and gratitude. There's no eating in front of the TV, no racing through lunch to check off a task. Eating becomes a ritual of connection, and that connection nourishes not only the body but also the spirit. Science now confirms what the world's oldest people have known intuitively. Protein is the quiet architect behind our strength, especially in the legs. And it's not about eating steak at every meal or guzzling protein shakes. It's about consistent, moderate, thoughtful nourishment. Dr. Luigi Ferrucci explains that leg muscles are our body's largest and most demanding. When deprived of protein, they're the first to shrink. But when fed well with eggs, yogurt, lentils, salmon, sardines, nuts, they respond like a thirsty garden after rain. Even in later years, muscles retain the ability to rebuild, to regenerate, to grow stronger. I remember Maria, a woman in her mid-70s, who came to her doctor frustrated. She used to walk every morning, but now, even a short climb left her breathless. Breakfast was a rushed coffee and toast. Lunch often skipped. Dinner, a light salad. She believed she was being healthy, eating less to stay light. But her body was hungry not for calories, but for strength. Together, they reshaped her day. Morning began with Greek yogurt, berries, and walnuts. Lunch brought lentil soup with a slice of whole grain bread. Dinner offered salmon with steamed broccoli and a drizzle of olive oil. 3 months later, Maria was no longer holding the rail on her stairs. 6 months later, she was dancing at her grandson's wedding, her eyes shining, her voice proud. It's never too late to give the body what it needs. Equally fascinating is the role of timing. Dr. Walter Longo's research into longevity has uncovered the power of fasting windows, not extreme fasting, but gentle, natural breaks between meals. Centenarians, often without realizing it, follow this pattern. They eat an early dinner, go to bed, and then eat a late breakfast or early lunch. This pause allows the body to shift from constant digestion to repair and renewal. Imagine a house under construction. If workers never pause, repairs pile up undone. But when the work stops, even briefly, the builders can reinforce walls, fix cracks, strengthen the foundation. Your body works the same way. Overnight, while you sleep, your cells mend themselves, including the muscle fibers in your legs. Centenarians around the world embrace these rhythms. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, elders rise with the sun, eat a hearty breakfast, work the land, then gather for an early evening meal. In Sardinia, they sit down for long lunches, savoring each bite, and finish dinner well before nightfall. This balance, nourishment and rest, movement and stillness, is a key part of why their legs carry them through a century. But food is only part of the picture. There's another, often overlooked ingredient: purpose. Dan Buettner, in his exploration of the blue zones, discovered that having a reason to get up in the morning, whether it's tending a garden, caring for grandchildren, volunteering in the community, makes all the difference. Purpose fuels movement, and movement preserves strength. I think of an elderly Sardinian shepherd, still walking steep hills in his 90s, guiding his sheep through rocky paths. When asked why he hadn't stopped, he smiled and said, "Because they need me." His legs were not just strengthened by the climb, they were strengthened by meaning. We often focus so much on nutrients and exercise that we overlook something just as vital: connection. A meal eaten in isolation, no matter how nutritious, is missing a key ingredient. Studies from Harvard and the World Health Organization have shown that loneliness increases the risk of physical decline, including muscle loss and frailty, in older adults. But a meal shared, even a simple one, nourishes more than the body. It nourishes the spirit. In Sardinia, it's common to see groups of elders gathered on benches or at kitchen tables, sharing meals and laughter. They don't eat in silence, they eat in conversation. In Okinawa, the concept of moai, small social groups that support each other through life, weaves a safety net of belonging. In Nicoya, elders live surrounded by extended family, where meals are multi-generational events, filled with stories, advice, and laughter. And this, too, matters for the legs. Why? Because it keeps people engaged, motivated to move, eager to participate in life. A person with a reason to walk to the neighbor's house, to join the community festival, to chase after grandchildren, uses their legs in ways that are joyful, not forced. Purpose doesn't just fill the heart, it fuels the muscles. One story that stays with me is of Alejandro, a 92-year-old from Nicoya. Every evening, he walks to his daughter's house to share dinner with her family. It's not a long walk, just a few blocks, but it's his ritual, his thread of connection. When asked why he doesn't just eat at home, he smiled and said, "Because there, I remember I'm part of something bigger." That simple walk, that shared meal, may be as important as the beans and corn on his plate. But even beyond connection, there's something deeply powerful in the ritual of eating. These elders don't rush their meals, they bless their food. They sit down at the table. They chew slowly, taste deeply, and stop when satisfied, not stuffed. This practice of mindful eating does more than aid digestion. It strengthens the relationship between body and mind. It helps the eater listen to their own hunger, honor their body's needs, and avoid the cycles of over or under-eating that can weaken muscles over time. In contrast, modern eating patterns, snacking on the run, skipping meals, consuming processed foods in front of screens break this sacred rhythm. The body, confused and undernourished, slowly loses its resilience. So, how can we reclaim these protective rituals? Start small. Invite a friend for lunch once a week. Call a family member while you prepare dinner. Set the table, even if you're eating alone, and light a candle or play soft music. Take a moment of gratitude before you eat, not as a grand gesture, but as a quiet acknowledgement of nourishment. Chew slowly, savoring texture and taste. Stop when your body says it's enough. And most importantly, find movement that connects you to life. It doesn't have to be a gym routine or a formal exercise program. It can be gardening, walking to the local market, dancing in the kitchen, playing with grandchildren, or simply stretching on the porch as the sun sets. The elders in the blue zones are not lifting weights or running marathons. They are living lives embedded with natural movement, purpose, and connection. Their strength is woven through the ordinary. Kneeling in the garden, carrying groceries, walking to visit a friend, preparing meals with love. In the end, the true secret of strong legs at 100 is not locked in genetics, nor is it hidden in some exotic superfood or magic pill. It lives in the small, repeated choices, the meals thoughtfully prepared, the laughter shared across a table, the garden tended, the grandchild lifted, the neighbor visited. It's these humble moments that quietly build resilience over decades. Imagine your legs as the roots of a great tree. They anchor you to the earth, hold you steady in life's storms, and allow you to stretch toward what matters most. But like any root system, they need care not once, not occasionally, but continuously. And that care begins at the table. Science has now given us a roadmap. We know that combining protein with fiber and healthy fats, an egg with spinach, a handful of nuts, a bowl of lentil stew, a piece of fish with steamed vegetables delivers what muscles need. We know that leaving space between meals allows the body to repair. We know that shared meals nourish not just the body but the heart. And we know that purpose, movement, and connection are the hidden nutrients that keep us walking forward. But here's the most beautiful truth. It's never too late to begin. I think of Helen, an 82-year-old who once came to a community health class. She walked in slowly, her cane tapping softly on the floor. Her story was familiar. Over the years, she had stopped cooking for herself, eating, instead, whatever was easy: crackers, cookies, soup from a can. Her legs, once strong from dancing in her youth, had weakened. She feared losing her independence. Together, we made a plan. Helen began adding small portions of protein to each meal: a hard-boiled egg, a slice of cheese, a cup of beans. She started walking with a neighbor to the corner store and back. She cooked a simple dinner once a week and invited her niece. 6 months later, Helen walked into class without her cane. Her steps were still slow, but they were sure. And her smile? It lit up the room. We don't need perfection. We need consistency. We need intention. We need to remember that every bite can be an act of strength. Every shared meal, a thread of resilience. Every small movement, a quiet promise to ourselves that we will keep walking forward. So, what can you do today? Perhaps tomorrow morning, you'll have yogurt with a sprinkle of almonds instead of just coffee. Maybe at lunch, you'll make a pot of lentils, knowing you're feeding not just your hunger, but your future strength. Maybe tonight, you'll call a friend to join you at the table, or you'll set the table for yourself with care, savoring your meal in peace. Perhaps you'll go for a short walk after dinner, feeling your legs carry you, honoring the incredible gift that is your mobility. These are not grand gestures. They are quiet revolutions. The centenarians of the world have shown us the way, a life built on connection, purpose, and simple, nourishing food. A life where the body is supported, the spirit is lifted, and the legs, those remarkable steadfast companions, carry us with grace and power into each new day. Tell us in the comments, what small habit are you ready to start today? Write strong legs and inspire someone else to take that first step. And if this message touched you, subscribe and walk this journey with us, because strength at any age is a choice we make again and again. In the end, longevity is not just about adding years to life, but adding life to those years with feet firm on the ground, a heart full of joy, and legs strong enough to carry us toward all we love.